Small issue here. Sunk in a hole. Rolled it. Fun, fun, fun. Now I gotta get another Skytrak to turn this one over. This is an extension of what happened in the weather. 91-mile-an-hour winds here in Dallas. Now, I tore most of those down because they were blown over, but this is my neighbor's yard. He's an elderly man, help out. This is a volunteer job that turned into a disaster. And how did it turn into a disaster? Well, there's my Skytrak. I rolled it. And how did that happen? Well, I'm a crummy operator. I don't know how to use these things. I don't belong behind the seat of one of these, but I've been using one for 20 years. All sorts of heavy equipment, a lot of experience. Everything from tearing down, building, construction, demo, erecting buildings, to putting motors in. That's what we use it for at the shop. All sorts of stuff. Not its debut to being on its roof either. And it's fine, it'll be all right. Now, how did this happen? Well, has to do with a little bit of the ground being wet at the time, of course, but it also has to do with the Skytrak stability system and the 40-degree lock, which locks the axles to not articulate. And that's part of the system here. There's one on the rear axle. And so all of these legacy Skytraks hit when there's a light that comes on, and as a good operator, you should recognize that light. In this case, well, I was looking up at the load. So I went probably 42, 43, 44 degrees on the boom. The axle is locked, which will keep the machine level. So if you drop one wheel, the ground falls out of one wheel, that wheel will hang up in the air. And my right-hand guy says, before it went over, said you had the right wheel in the air, because we were coming off of this hill, going down to this tree pile that we've put over here from all these different ones we've torn out by the roots. So once that went up in the air, there was no ground for it to do. And then so when the load shifted a little bit and the wheel was up in the air, it just went over. Nice and fun. It was graceful, actually. It wasn't very hard. The ground was real soft, so I was just sitting there and I shut it down and climbed out and said a few curse words, and that was about it. So tomorrow, if you're watching this video, I wish I had a video of it going over, but I don't. But we're gonna make a video of it going back up, actually on Wednesday. So if you're watching this video, the latter part of this video will be it being picked up. We've rented another Skytrak, and my plan is to come in from behind it right in this area, reach out to about mid-boom with a big chain on the other boom, and start tilting it back and seeing how it goes that way. We'll try and get the load. We should probably have to, somewhere around the moment on that thing is going to be, probably about 5,000, 6,000 pounds to tilt it back over. But if we tried to pull it back this way, it's going to be a lot of work. And so we'll see how that goes. But this ground is still pretty soft. I'm waiting for it to get more dried out. And so there's all those trees. That's blown into the power line. One here was on the house over here. So that was really kind of where we came out to give them a hand. And so that's how it goes. And so I'll show a segment of a video. I'll try it on the other system. If they give me a legacy Skytrak, I'll be able to raise one wheel with a 40-degree load, so you can see how that happens. And so this is for people that operate these to watch, because even if you're experienced with a lot of time behind one of these, this one here, I've put at least 3,500 hours on it myself. And I've done just some, everything from cleaning creeks out in emergency floods to all sorts of stuff. And this is the first accidental unexpected roll I've ever had. So sideways, I mean, we've tilted it, you know, from the front and back. You can, and the other thing about when the axles lock is it takes the seat of the pants feel out of the machine. It feels completely unnatural, so you don't know what it's doing. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, why is this thing going over? And that's what it'll do. So one of those things that if they had a switch to turn it off, it would have been off. But again, it's always the operator's fault, because I went over 40 degrees and didn't know it. And I usually am very good about not locking that, getting that axle lock in there, especially when I'm moving things or driving it on uneven ground, because that's where it gets you in trouble. And it did. So it's gonna be a big fun. Actually, I reached the key and just hit the starter for a real quick second, and it started right up. Not to shut it right down, but because it was running when it went over. I turned it down, off. I mean, within a second of it going over. But I was running full boom down, full throttle as I was going over to try and take the load off as much as I can. It really didn't have much load on it. You can see it's just some small trees. They're not even big ones like the ones we moved over there. So it was completely unexpected for it to do that, as it was a nothing load, and I'd already been down there at least 5 or 6 times. Yeah, when we bought this machine, when I bought it, you can see the cab's bent. It fell off a truck on the highway. So that's why I bought it. We fixed everything else, but not that. So it's not his debut to being on his roof, but it's a solid machine. And it'll be fine when we flip it back up. Just hope there's no disaster. So you'll get to watch it live. We have no idea what to expect because it's downhill. The boom is pretty much out. I'm almost tempted to try and retract the boom some, but I do not want to damage my machine with it upside down like that. So we'll try it where it is. And go from there. So look forward to the fun part coming up. Snapped off all the poles. Gate was off. I had to bend that back and put it back on. This tree is done. I'm taking it down. Non-stop work. This is the start of the recovery, cleaning up this mess here out of the yard to get to the other Skytrak. We're in a JCB 6000. That's all we can get our hands on. This thing's gonna be a little light in the ass, but we'll see what it can do. Yeah. Yeah, we need to get it at a better angle, so more pointing uphill, so it won't have a less chance of rolling. This one, yeah. So we got it almost all the way up. We're gonna put some fluid in it now, and it took an engineer here to help us. Yeah, so we got underneath it, had to clear a bunch of stuff out, and then use this as a backup, just a safety chain. This will not pull it up, no way, in a million years. And so that's where we're at. And now we should be able to, it'll actually start right now, but it has no hydraulic fluid, so we're gonna get it and start bringing the boom down. I'm going to reposition the smaller Skytrak, the rental, to where we can pull it over a little more. But that's it. We couldn't, this is, you know, I appreciate this one after renting this one. That thing's weak, really is. Different angle of it there. So that is why this thing flipped over. Its articulation system is completely locked up, trying to dump itself over. We cannot get it out of that stance. And so something happened to it and it threw itself over. And it felt like it did that. What a project. And this is the problem. So, not an operator error in this case. The system went into complete tilt mode on this. You can't get it out of it. It's picking up one wheel, dumping the other on a hill. So when it went over, it just felt like it was pushing itself over. And I'm like, get out of the way, it's going over. So we have to figure out why it's doing this. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's like a dog hiked up to take a pee.
Oh, man.
So it takes this one, it fully extends it, and then it pulls this one up. The only reason the wheel's not off the ground is because I got the boom out to try and drive it back.
Yeah.
So it's full.
She won't straighten up. She won't come back.
Nope.
Move! Dangerous. Elizabeth, move. Hey. Hey. Don't do that. Don't get too close. Move.
So this is the wrecking ground where some near 30 trees were pulled out. We left those really need to go, but all this was just total trash trees all through here. They'd have grown up over the years. And there's the pile I left last night with more to go.